At the break of dawn, in the middle of the Arizona desert, a crowd of strangers meet for one purpose.
You guys coming out here to help me out, I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart.
To help another stranger, a father desperately searching for his 24-year-old son, Daniel Robinson.
Since he was a child, he liked to challenge everything.
He was born with a challenge.
And I wanted to introduce him to prosthetics because he's born one hand. We quickly learned that that's something that Daniel didn't want. He let nothing stop him. He decided to be a geologist once he got into freshman year in college. He excelled that, he graduated with honors.
Daniel's first job is checking the viability of water wells in the Arizona desert.
He loved this area, of course, because of the rock formation. You're a geologist, this is the best place to be.
But the terrain became a hellscape for his dad when Daniel went missing back in June from his job site.
And what number search is this?
This is search number 14.
Navigating the dangers in the desert, the Army veteran knows firsthand time is of the essence.
When I called the Buckeye Police Department, they told me that I had to wait an extra 3 hours because they had a 12-hour, report time when you can say a person is missing. Then I called them back and put in a missing person report. I got very worried. That's when I got very worried. I asked the Buckeye Police Department to go out and search that area. The officer told me that they were going to send a vehicle out there, a helicopter out to search for him. I was relieved. And then he called back an hour later and said, no, it was a no-go. I'm his dad, and he's my son. I've lost all sense of reality. At that moment, I said, you know what? They're not going to look for my son. I'm going to have to do it myself.
Before he arrived, police did decide to search on foot and with helicopters.
This is the last place your son was seen?
The last place.
What do you think happened, David?
I think a lot happened here. I'm very suspicious.
But he doesn't know what. A month in, there's a break in the case, and police call Robinson.
I got afraid, actually, that it's going to be some bad news. He said, no, we just found his vehicle.
Some ranchers found it, and then at that point, we conducted our investigation and additional searches.
What was the condition of the car? If it had rolled over, it sounds like it was pretty bad.
Yeah, the car was on its side. The sunroof was kicked out at that point, so he might have exited through the sunroof.
His wrecked car in a ravine, both airbags deployed, Daniel's cell phone, clothes he was wearing that day, and a case of water all found at the crash site. But not Daniel.
People don't just disappear into thin air.
True.
Does that sort of feel like what's happened to here?
Yes. Yeah, it's very, very challenging case.
No matter how much the family asks for this to be a criminal investigation, can you make that happen?
We can't make up evidence. Absolutely suspicious circumstances related to the case.
Frustrated and heartbroken, Robinson hired a private investigator.
Where are we going?
Down here is where the vehicle was recovered from.
Is that the glass from the car?
Yes.
When you looked at this accident, what are the discrepancies that you noticed right away?
I believe it was in more than one collision.
What does the data from the black box of the car tell you?
That there was 11 additional miles on the vehicle since the airbags came out.
What does that tell you?
That tells me it was crashed somewhere else.
Does that sound suspicious? What explains that?
Well, we had the national expert that came in and provided us his findings, and then they ended up speaking to an expert at Jeep, and the expert says, yes, sometimes that happens, and it's not unusual.
But the data also shows someone tried to start the car 46 times after the crash.
That's something we can't explain.
It begs the question, again, the family is saying it's criminal. It's got to be he's in danger. Do something.
Right. No, I agree. But we need information. We need evidence.
He's got a lot of theories. His words, I think, were, I don't think they cared. What do you say to that?
Can be furthest from the truth.
Losing hope, Robinson began pleading for media coverage.
It literally took 3 months.
While Robinson searched for his son, the country became riveted by media coverage of another missing persons case, the case of Gabby Petito.
In my situation, people think I love our children less or something, or they're less important.
In 2020, more than 543,000 missing persons records were filed. More than 480,000 were cleared. And 40% of the missing are people of color.
There are a lot of Gabby Petitos and Natalie Holloways in the Black and brown community.
That's why former police officer Derica Wilson co-founded Black and Missing Inc. and says too often their cases go untold. Eventually, local stations did stories and citizens began helping search. Did you know Daniel?
No, I just wanted to help.
You're just helping out a stranger on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Why?
You know what? I can't imagine what that man's going through.
As the search for Daniel goes into its 5th month, another family is in the midst of a terrible mystery for a 5th year. The family of Nikki and Ariana Fitz.
Ariana is very energetic, very happy.
2-year-old Ariana went missing under the most suspicious of circumstances in the San Francisco Bay Area in 2016. Her mother, Nikki Fitz, was found in a shallow grave in San Francisco's McLaren Park, but Ariana was gone.
It breaks my heart that Ariana's not with her mom and Ariana's not with her family, but it also breaks my heart even more is that I know that Nikki wants nothing more than Ariana to be with us, to be home.
Tessa Fitz says she is convinced her niece Ariana was taken by people close to Ariana's mother. San Francisco police searched for weeks. They had some leads, but no arrests. A digitally altered photo was made of what she may look like now.
And she's 8 now. I don't want to see this in a picture. I want to see her face in person.
Should Ariana Fitz be a household name like JonBenet Ramsey?
Absolutely. Why is her case any different from Kaylee Anthony? I can tell you, the color of their skin is the only difference.
For 5 desperate years, the family has continued searching using flyers, social media, and Black and Missing Inc.
Do you think it has anything to do with color?
I try not to put myself in the mindset of the race issue with her media coverage. All I want is for there to be the media coverage for her. I think she deserves that.
The Fitz and the Robinsons want only one thing, with hugging their missing children once again.
Do you think that Ariana is still alive?
I do believe that Ariana is still alive, and it would mean everything to me to know where she is and to find her. I wait for that day every single day. I believe that day will come.
How long will you search?
Till I find my son. I have to. I mean, he's my responsibility.
Sarah Seidner, CNN, Buckeye, Arizona.
shelter from the storm. You keep me safe inside your wings. You are my comfort when life gets hard. You lead me to water to drink. And now I trust your gentle hand, even when I can't understand. I know your voice, I'm not afraid. Walking with me at the same pace.
When the lights and camera turn off, I will be here. When the interest and conversation fade, I will be here. When there's no one around, a father will do anything it takes to be there for his son, to protect his family.
Daniel Robinson went missing 4 months ago. This is the last photo his family has of him. He's a 24-year-old geologist, last seen leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona.
As the Gabby Petito homicide case garners national attention, another young person has been missing for nearly 3 months, and his family is desperate to find him. 24-year-old Daniel Robinson, a geologist, was last seen on the morning of June 23rd, leaving his work site in the desert of Buckeye, Arizona.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son. And I'm still searching for him. Thank you guys for coming in this evening's Q&A prime time. My name is David Robinson. I'm the father of geologist Daniel Cornelius Robinson. My son Daniel, a geologist who graduated from the College of Charleston in Charleston, South Carolina, started his career in Phoenix, Arizona. He later moved to Tempe, Arizona, which is outside of Phoenix, Arizona. But when he arrived in Arizona for the first time, he landed his first job in life with the company called Matrix New World. It's an engineering company. It's also called Matrix Southwest Groundwater. What he does, they hired him on as a field geologist, also called a hydrogeologist, because he go out to various well sites all over Arizona to assess wells, to check the viability of wells. And that's because in Arizona, each community had to have wells. It's a desert state, and these groundwaters is very important. Those groundwater had to produce at least 100 years of water for the community. My son's job, being a scientist, is to determine if those community indeed can support the wells and the water, the groundwater can support a community that is being built in the area. Of course, on June 23rd, my son was assigned to an area to assess wells that will be part of a new city that's coming into Buckeye. They call it a smart city. It's called Travelis. My son's job was to determine if those wells, those waters, and the groundwater can produce enough water to sustain that community. As we know, high in sight, those findings that my son's job was to do was held back. It was kept secret until the new government came into Arizona, where they had just released a report from June, the same month that my son had went missing out there in the Buckeye area of the Sonoran Desert. And those wells, like I said, do not produce enough water for that development, but they're trying to move full steam ahead anyway. On June 23rd, my son did visit a second well site. He visited the first one, of course, that we do know of from the information I got from Daniel's job. The second part is the second well is only based on one man's testimony, one man's story. A guy named Ken that was already at the well site before my son supposedly had went there. As you guys know, it's a timeline to the whole thing that doesn't match what the story of this man said at the well site. My son has been trying to call. He received some calls that morning. Once he left the first well site, he received some calls from his job, as well as he tried to contact. He did get one missed call from Ken from the well site. I was waiting at the well site. Ken left a voicemail asking Daniel not to come to the well because of some fueling issue with a fuel truck. Daniel tried to call him back after he missed his call. He did not answer his call, so it kind of went to a back forth thing for a second. My son did not get a response back from Ken when he tried to call him back, and then later he texted him when he, I guess, needed direction to get to the location. He texted him specifically asking him for those directions. Ken did not answer him back, so Daniel ended up calling at 9:28 in the morning that I assumed to ask for directions to get to our location. But according to Ken, his story, his take on his side of the story was that my son met him on Sun Valley Parkway, right off the road, shoulder of the road, coming into the gate north of Sun Valley of Cactus Road off of Sun Valley Parkway. That's on the outside of the Sonoran Desert. He said he had a conversation with my son, a real quick conversation before my son followed him into that desert. They went 1 mile east and 1 mile. So I'm sorry, 1 mile west and 2 miles north to get to the well site. Once they got to the well site, according to this worker, they arrived there around 9 o'clock, and they talked for about a brief minute, for over 10 minutes, to talk about the weather. My son described that he wanted to go back to Phoenix to get some rest, was what he was saying. But eventually my son waved all to him to have never been seen again to this date. But it don't mess the timeline, because he said my son left that well site at 9:15, but my son called him at 9:28. Like I said, to assume that he was asking for a direction to get the location, which will indicate to ask the question if my son actually really got there. The man, he did change his story after, I guess, scrutinized of the what's really going on. He told a second officer that they arrived at the well site at 9:30. That still does not match the time, because my son called at 9:28. For what reason, the length of time I would not put in the public don't appear to be long enough to even ask the question about. Seemed like more like a missed call. Those calls wasn't scrutinized by the Buckeye Police Department. They didn't look at the man's report, his phone records, to see those transactions going back and forth. Everything is always based on one side of hearsay type situations. And definitely, we kind of trying to get those information as well from the Buckeye Police Department, who should have scrutinized the story a lot more and get some of those informations. As you guys know, my son's vehicle, I came into Arizona after my son went missing. I don't want to report him missing. I got to Arizona, in Phoenix, Arizona, on June the 26th, 3 days after my son went missing, almost into Phoenix, though. I did get a call from my auntie who lives in Philadelphia, who said that she was really excited, said they finally got the fire, because they denied, the Buckeye Police Department denied a flight to go out to search for my son. The initial night that my son went missing, I begged the police department to go out and search for him that night. They said they couldn't do it because it was nighttime, but they did send officers up and down the Sun Valley Parkway. It's the first time I heard of that road. I didn't know what it was, and I guess he said he's going into that area. I was really grateful, not knowing that my son actually went missing in the desert, but they would say they went up and down Sun Valley Parkway in that area to see if he was stuck on the side of the road. But I asked them to go out there into the desert to search for Daniel. They declined to do it that night, but said they would do it the next morning. Then the next morning I tried to get a car, stayed up all night. Of course, you guys know, I talked to the morning officer who took the shift over. He tried to get the flight to go. His higher ups, he first told me yes, they was going to have this flight. I was really excited, really happy, because I was still in South Carolina, kept trying to prepare to get ready to get out of there. And he said that, yes, they're going to have a flight, but then he called me back some hours later and said, no, the flight has been canceled, because his higher up says, Dan's a grown man. If he want to disappear on his own, he can. And they had made an assumption and canceled the flight, you guys. So that really pushed me quicker Grabbed everything. I just lost all sense of reality, grabbed everything I could, threw it in my vehicle, and started heading out west without thinking. Once I'm on the road and getting out on that road heading out west, I've been dealing with the police department, getting all the information I can, try to help them get some information as well. Talking to my family, my daughter, my children, trying to get things going with that. Like I said, as I was coming into Arizona, I did get a call from auntie saying, "Hey, look, we got it. We got this bird." I don't know what she said to them to this day, but she was able to convince them to finally that what they're saying is to get the Phoenix Firebird, the Phoenix Police Department, to go out and do a flyover to look for Daniel. Of course, you guys, hindsight now, I put in for the information to date. They cannot find records of that ever happened, but they're still looking. And but the thing is, that's what the flight says there. They say they did the flight out there almost 3 days after my son went missing. Of course, like I said, I got on the ground. I talked to the one person who said they seen my son last, and that was his name is Ken. He was at the well site waiting on my son. He was at the well site. He last person said he spoke to my son. I wanted to hear him tell me the same thing he told the officer, which he did. Told it verbatim, almost like it was written on the paper. He wrote it. He said it exactly how the officer put it to me, Officer Cruz. And the thing was, after a brief conversation, I used a tactic that I learned in the military to feel like make him feel like I was friendly with him, being friends with him. He started getting loose and started telling me more. He started telling me more details about staying left to the tracks. He told me that, he noticed things going to, the police are going to come looking, this thing's going to get big and it's going to turn national. He knew that. He also told me that once he followed the tracks till he got to the T junction. He knows that Daniel tracks went to the out west, and so he followed those tracks out west. He went to a gate. All those things that I recorded, that I did hindsight now, I scrutinized that story and I followed his tracks. The way he described those things to me. There is a gate that you go through that leads up towards when you go out west. That leads up to a station, a infrastructure station with electricity. I forgot what you call a substation. But he went through that gate there, which I know now hindsight. He traveled for another mile, which I know now. He went up on the top of a hill, he said, which I know now. And he looked over to try to see if he could see Daniel from a distance. Then he got back in the vehicle, drove a little bit more, but he'd been taking red paint, can of red paint, and sprayed rocks with red paint to. He said, like he would say, to alert the officer to where he saw the tracks go that far off. As you guys know, his story is that he knew it was Daniel's track going out west because it was raining and it washed everybody else's tracks away except for Daniel's. But it's really weird that he says that because it was raining that whole entire day. They claim it was raining that whole day. Then it wouldn't make sense because if he didn't leave out from the well site, he says, until the evening to look for him. If it was raining the whole day, it would have rained. It would have washed off Daniel's tracks as well. So it's a whole lot of different things with the story that just don't add up. The timeline don't add up, and the things that he says just don't add up. But these are the things that the Buckeye Police Department are basing their whole case on when it comes to searching for my son. Like I said, you guys, every time they went out to look for anything, they came back empty-handed. They used Silver Air Patrol 2 weeks after my son went missing, and they came up empty-handed. When the vehicle showed up on July the 19th, they went out there to the rancher who found it. They claimed they did something in the search, but they told the rancher, whatever you do not tell the media that the vehicle was found, and do not tell the family. Though I was on the ground out there every day of the week almost looking for my son, had searches every weekend out there searching for my son, and they knew this. But they didn't want me to have that information. They waited over 24 hours just to let me know that the vehicle was found out there in the desert by that rancher. And then, like I said, the strangest part of you'll know the details of that about they telling me the theories that they believed in. My son joined a monastery, become a monk, or things like that. But the one thing that stuck to me the most is that my searches kept going that Saturday, that coming Saturday, and two people showed up: the rancher and Chief Hall. The only time they ever showed up to the searches, and they only came there for one thing, is to show me where this vehicle was located. That's it. Something that the Buckeye Police Department should have done with my family. I had to learn about where my son's vehicle was found out there in the desert with a whole bunch of people, volunteers that was there. He came out the vehicle grandstanding, yelling and asking everybody, not me and my daughter, but everybody, come on, y'all want to know where this vehicle at? Follow me. And we follow him like we're on a school trip or something. until he started grandstanding and talking about how he tried to put it on the cartels. That's the way I take it. He was telling me how bad the cartels is out there in the desert, and the cartels landing planes on Sun Valley Parkway at night and dropping their drugs and take back off and things like that. Um, uh, that kind of story I think to make me feel like maybe the cartel got hooked to my son. That's the way I took it, and then also to sell me the story that the vehicle was found there. Hindsight, looking with my investigator, we know the vehicle wasn't found there. I mean, well, it was found there, but it wasn't there before. The vehicle was placed there. It was placed there based on all the information from my investigator, who found the red transfer paint on the vehicle. He found that the damage on the vehicle don't match the terrain. He found the two impressions on the windshield where somebody took something to beat the windshields on both sides. He also found 11 additional miles that the Buckeye police would pull the data off the vehicle. They didn't know how to read it. They turned everything over to him, told him they wasn't investigating my son's case. That's why they turned everything over to him. They have no more leads to follow. They put on social media, and they told me the same thing. And they turned everything over to me for safekeeping. That was done with my son's case. Until my son's case went national, that's when they started picking things up and say they're investigating, using the word investigating. But in the meantime, like I said, my investigator read that black box data, read it really well. He gave it back to them and say, look, there's 11 additional miles on the vehicle after the first initial crash. He have evidence, physical evidence. He measure and do all his things that he actually does physically to the vehicle to determine that this vehicle being in multiple crashes. He had the infotainment system pull out of the vehicle to send to California for analysis. It came over an 800-page report that shows the vehicle was first crashed around 1 o'clock that day. There was over 46 initial cycles after that first crash, and things like that. So you guys, there's so much physical evidence, so much information that was there that suggests foul play, but the Buckeye Police Department wasn't having that. That made them angry. Once we returned those things over to them, they stopped speaking to me when returned my phone calls, and then they hired their own investigator to rebut everything that my investigator found. Though the investigator have never seen my son's vehicle, never touched it, never examined it, never examined the clothing, never examined anything else. But we did the examination, we did the testing out there with the vehicles. We have never been able to get desert vehicles to get up to that speed to go down that ravine. But that's a heavier vehicle. They claimed that actually was doing that. They also concluded that the vehicle did a full roll. There's no damage to the rooftop of the vehicle as well. So it is so much bogus stuff that goes on with the Buckeye Police Department's report. So much damage that has been done to my son's case. They gave everything over to me without keeping in storage lock, keeping all the evidence. The only thing they ever done was to the vehicle itself was under my request to fingerprint the vehicle, but they said they also did a swabbing of the steering wheel and the shifter. That's it. No airbag testing, no testing to see anybody else driving the vehicle, nobody testing to see anybody else was in the vehicle. Don't look for blood in the vehicle, because what they told me in that meeting, they said we didn't see with their own eyes any blood in that vehicle. Didn't test for blood. They didn't see blood with their own eyes. You guys know when you wipe up blood, you also can use luminol or whatever the stuff called to determine if there are any blood in the vehicle after somebody tried to clean it up, things like that. So there's a lot of mishaps and mistakes that the Buckeye Police Department had done. I don't know if it's on purpose or something they do because it's incompetent or what the case may be, but I've been asking law enforcement agencies all over who says they are good departments, and they see the mistakes that Buckeye have. They see all the tragedies that happened to my family because of what Buckeye did, and they're still refusing to help me by taking this case on, whether they're the FBI, whether they're the Maricopa County, who has jurisdiction over that area where my son went missing, over the city where he's living, and also Tempe Police Department, who ended up doing the forensic work. You guys, I did convince them to do that. They did that as a favor, they say for me. But the point is, my son is a resident of Tempe, had several meetings with the mayor of Tempe, as well as the chief of police, assistant chief as well. Also with Maricopa County Sheriff Zone, had meetings with them and trying to get things done, you guys. But you can imagine how I feel. You guys see the CNN post that I put up before the Q&A here would describe how some cases are treated a lot different. A lot of these cases right now, the families move on. It's sad that they had to find out the death of their loved one. However, at the same time, they got all the attention that they really need, and I'm really grateful that they did. But my family and we do need the same kind of attention in my son's case. I've been fighting for it, you guys. I've been fighting for over a year just to get the forensics done on electronics. I'm still fighting just to get forensics done on this vehicle and find out that's really my son's clothing and things like that. To date, law enforcement are refusing to do it. There's some disparities that are going on in this case here. I don't use racial stuff at all since I've been really searching for my son. But you guys know the difference. And when I say the difference is, you can tell how certain cases are handled and some not. I'm not saying all cases are handled the right way. What I'm saying, the disparities are there. You guys can look at statistics and the way they view black bodies. You know, they may view it a lot different, and they take the attention of that even responses towards certain cases different when it comes to black bodies. So that's what I'm suffering with, you guys, because it don't make sense for that to been over a year. Just even get to certain points, you guys. You get what I'm saying? You know, just it took over a year just to get to these points, and it's a problem. But anyway, I got my spiel in, you guys, for this Q&A. Thank you guys for standing there with me to listen. But I want to talk about what we did this morning as well. This is a fast and prayer for Daniel, and you know, you guys have been sharing the hashtag fast and prayer for Daniel. I'll put it on the bottom of the screen here as well. Well, on the screen here, the hashtag fast and prayer for Daniel. What we do is my team and I will have a fast and a prayer every Wednesday that's close to the 23rd of each month. That way, you know, kind of commemorate another month of Daniel's been missing. The 23rd, which is 2 days ago, has passed, but the Q&A here, the closest, we're doing the fast and prayer. So what I did this morning, for those who may not been here this morning, is I have started a fast and prayer with the prayer, and what we do is do a fast and prayer until this prime time Q&A, where I would do a prayer, which I'm about to do now, and end the fast and prayer. If you want to keep going, you can. If you want to end it with the prayer, that's fine. I just have to do it while the Q&A is going on. But yes, I'm asking you guys to pray with me, and I'm going to do it now. Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for completing this entire day. We still have days left, hours in the day left. We thank you for protecting us all day. We thank you, God, for giving us guidance. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for opening up doors. I know those doors are open. I just have to find them. Thank you for guiding me there. Thank you for blessing these families who are listening to my voice right now. Bless them as well. Bless their house. You know their circumstances. You know their needs. And we ask you, Heavenly Father, to bless them, pour out, open the window of heaven, and pour out blessings they don't have room to receive. We know that you can do it right now. We thank you. I'm asking you, God, to bless them. Bless those families who are going through the same situations I'm going through. Don't know, have a clue to what happened to their loved one. Don't know where to look. Don't know what to do. Give them, open their eyes. Give them wisdom. Give them directions. Show them. Give them closure. Bring their loved one back home safe and sound, Lord. And to those that not safe and sound, bring some form of closure that you can comfort their hearts, comfort their mind, comfort their soul. Lord, bless them and guide them and help them. And thank you, God, for all things. In Jesus' name, pray, amen. Thank you, guys, for the praying with me and joining in with the fast and prayer for Daniel. I'm definitely believing prayer. I believe in fasting. Fasting is good for your soul and good for your body. And prayer is being able to make intercessions for others, as well as putting your quest in to God, to have a conversation with God. That's good for your spirit as well. So definitely, prayer never hurts anybody. I don't know what everybody's faith is or what they believe, if you believe in God or not, or higher power. It's always it's a good thing. It's a spirit thing. It's almost like meditating. You guys, for some, you know, you definitely get something out of it. You definitely get clarity and things like that. And you, like I said, in my faith, you have a conversation with God, and you have a way to communicate back and forth for your desires, your needs, and also your intercessions for others. But thank you so much, you guys, for joining in with me on that. Again, this is Dave Robinson, the father geologist Daniel Cornelius Robinson. I started this Please Help Find Daniel Q&A to answer questions. My son's case went national, but after a time, you guys, you already know that with news stories and things like that, if it's nothing new, they can't do anything with it. It started dying down, and those are some of the reasons why cases become cold. If the interest is going away from a case, whether it's the public interest and things like that, law enforcement even kind of match those things. They'll start losing interest. They're not working hard enough to find new leads, and they'll just say, we don't have any more leads. They want leads to fall on their lap. They're not going to go look for it. And so I'm not going to let that happen to my son. We're going to try to do everything we can. And when I say we, I'm hoping that you guys joining in with me. I see that. I see all the love and stuff that you guys have been showing. Constantly staying with me with this whole Q&A, constantly staying with me about this whole case. I'm just a father, father like many of you, a parent just like many of you who have a child. No matter how old they get, how they still your children to you. And I'm trying to do the best I can. I'm not an expert at this. One day I'm sitting out on my retirement, enjoying my life as a retired military guy. And then the next day I'm back in the desert again, a different desert. I was in the desert of Afghanistan, but now I'm in the desert of Arizona, doing things to search for my son. So it put me back in the place in my life where, you get away from certain things and then you have to pick it back up again. But this time is very tragic because it's my son, the person I love, who's a part of me, and I'm a part of him. And definitely want to make sure I bring him back home to his mother, who's at home suffering, his siblings, who's at home suffering, his aunties, uncles, cousins, you name it, his friends. You guys who've been showing us a lot of love as if Daniel was yours. He's not just my son, he's American son. I like to say that a lot because he is American son, because there's a lot of people going through the same exact situation. A lot of people his age missing. A lot of people have family members they just, like I said, just looking for and don't have answers. So what happened to my family happens to, it's not unique to my family, it happens to every other families as well. So definitely he's America's son, and I'll just treat it that way. Make sure I'm putting everything I can into find my son. But I will be going to this comment session. I'll tell you guys, thanks so much up front for coming to this primetime Q&A. I want to share also that I'll be having a search coming up. You guys probably seen a lot of that. And let's see, here it goes. Public search here is on the bottom screen for Daniel. It's going to be on February 25th. And, I need all hands on that. That's what I have there. I need all hands on that. If everybody can come and be a part of that, I really appreciate it. I need at least 200 people on the ground to complete an area that need to be completed because I'm forced. I'm being pushed out, you guys. I've been pushed out. I've been last year, the first part of last year, the last part of the year before that in 2021. These people that was building that community with the water that's not there, they've been trying to get me out of there. They've been trying their best to do everything they can. They accuse me of shooting guns out there to you name it. When I say me, I'm taking the block for because this my searches, but they're accusing the volunteers. But I'm saying they're accusing me of my searches of out there shooting and things like that. People go out there target practice all the time, but my search is there to search for Daniel. Was trying to do a rescue mission, was trying to find Daniel, but they tried every tactic they can to try to get me out that desert. They didn't want me to get into the well. To get the well search, but I was able to get around that. I mean, there's so much stuff I had to get around, but this time they definitely pushing me out. They want no more searches, but I was able to convince them to give me at least one more search. And but we had some stipulations into that, like a head count. That's why I asked you guys to sign up on Eventbrite so I can get a head count, pretty much an estimate of a head count, so I can give to these owners of the land because they want to know how many people are going to be out on their properties. Because we had to cross over their properties to get to the area that I'm trying to get to. At the same time, they just want me out of there. They say this is it. They want me out of there. They don't want me in their lands anymore. Despite the fact that there's some little parts that still haven't been searched, but I had to make my decision based on mapping and things that we talked about in the past, myself and my old desert team, where it need to be done. And the only way I can get it done, you guys, if I get the numbers. If I go out there, I don't have the numbers, I would not complete it. I will not be able to search that area thoroughly like I need to. And the problem with, because what takes a couple of weeks to do, I can do it in one day with the numbers. And that's the reason why I say, you guys, if I can get you guys to encourage others, if you can't do it yourself, you live in another city, state, and you wish with everything you can to be there, you can't. Help me by spreading the word how urgent this really is. And if you happen to be in Phoenix or you happen to be able to get here, you have a different life where you can do things like that. I need the numbers, and I will have the date. Like I said, is on the search is on the 25th of February. That's next month. You guys can go to pleasehelpfinddane.com, get information on that. Hit the events tab though. Hit the events tab. I'm gonna change it up so I can direct you straight to the events tab and hit that, and it'll take you to Eventbrite, and you can sign up so I can know that you're coming. Right. Definitely need you guys to do that. Please do that. If that'll help me out a lot. Thank you so much for that in advance. Those who I know already signed up. I've seen a lot of people signed up, and I'm really happy about that. My team tell me about that as well. Also, I just want to put one thing out, and I put it this way on the bottom. There's no current weekly searches, public searches in the desert, because I got some feedback somebody was putting out in the public that we having weekly searches out there in the desert, but they're not. If people out there doing weekly searches, not me. It's someone else out there doing searches, which I can control. And I'm thanking them also, whoever out there still out there search for Daniel, but they're not directed by me going out there. So my searches, I would announce it on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. All the information about my searches on one source, pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. Also, you guys can see on the bottom of the screen, these are my social media and website accounts. That's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, and the website. All use one name, and that's Please Help Find Daniel. But when you go to Twitter, Twitter's a little different. As the account name for Twitter that I use is Please Help Find 4. So you guys see that stroll on the bottom of the screen, Please Help Find and the number 4. So that's Twitter. But everything else is bearing the name Please Help Find Daniel. There's no Please Help Find Daniel in the desert or some other extra stuff there. It's not me. It wouldn't be me. So you guys, I just want to make y'all aware of that. If there's even in a donation, even the GoFundMe, you will see it the same way. So definitely, and the Cash App or whatever the case may be, the sign the petition, that type of stuff. So everything is linked all the same, and I did it by purpose, so everybody can know exactly where they're actually speaking with and things like that. So you guys, like I said, nobody's representing me as well. You hear people out there say, "Hey, I'm representing the Robinson family." They are not. Do not believe that stuff. I represent myself. You guys probably can tell I'm a guy. I'm not a huge guy, but I'm a big guy. I'm big enough to say, hey, look, I can handle myself. I talk for myself. Nobody have to talk for me. I speak for myself. I speak for my family as well. And, so there's nobody out there talking on behalf of our family or myself. So you guys be careful when you hear things like that. So just want to get back into the Q&A here. I would put this stuff back if you guys have a tip. You already know the tip line. But I want to tell everybody, thank you again, like I said, for coming in on this Q&A and just being a part. I want to say here, let's see who I got here. I'm just trying to get up here to the top and start scrolling down. If you guys have any questions, that's what it's all about. The Q&A is about questions. If you have any questions, please put the capital letter Q, the word question, so question marks before your question. As I'm coming down, if I have to skip kind of fast because of time, I want to be able to get those questions. That's what the Q&A is for, to get your questions. So I want to be able to not miss your questions. But I definitely want to try to reach out to as much people I can, who I have here, Tira. Just want to say thank you for being here. And Tiara, I think that's how you say it, Tiara. Thanks so much for being here and off the Facebook side and joining in. Debbie, thank you so much for being here as well. Jana, thank you so much for being here as well. I pray this somehow has a happy ending. It will. I'm having faith in that. This father love is that of a warrior. You have to be a true hero. Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. Sending your love, light, and energy for your continued search. And I need those positive energies. So thank you so much, Jana. I really appreciate that. Also, Rona, thank you so much for being here this evening on Q&A as well. God bless you. That's Spivey. Thank you so much for being here as well on this Q&A, showing your love. And I really appreciate that. I pray for answers every day. In Daniel's case, Mr. Robinson, you are dedicated to your son is absolutely amazing. Yes, that's what fathers do. At least that's what I wanted my father to do. Of course, I know how it is not growing up without a father. I promised my children they will have a father, and I'm making good to my promises, my word, and to myself is my birthright. Saying my birthright to be a father. I'm proud to be a father. I'm happy to be a father, and I want to make sure I do the right things by my children. We will never stop praying for Daniel and your family. Thanks so much. God bless you for that. Also, thank you, Jana, again, for being here. Thank you for your comment. I am a Native American woman. Thank you so much. And there are also hundreds of missing and murdered Indigenous women. And you're right, it's really bad. Who no one are looking for. And I have one of my team members as well. He's a part of the team in a different fashion. And that's what he does. He go looking. He have a whole his foundation looks for indigenous women, specific indigenous people, but specifically indigenous women, because it's a big problem, in that community. And it's sad. It's very sad that things like that happen. Like you said, nobody go looking. Nobody don't hear the stories. And so we got to do something about that. I'm part of that to try to help do something about that. If you look at the Daniel Robinson Foundation that's coming up, they said to closing that gap of disparities and things like that. That's the whole purpose of the foundation, to be able to do that. If they are white, if they were white women, they would be turning over every stone. I believe if Daniel were a young white man, this case would have gained more attention. You don't hear me say that a lot, Jana, and I just said it in the opening. I don't say it a lot, but it's a fact and it's the truth. The way things are handled, I just watch it and I get offended a lot, you guys. I get offended that things didn't go the way I needed to go for Daniel. I don't see the urgency to this day. That's the reason why I'm asking law enforcement, sending this invite. I'm going to watch. I want you guys to see it as well. There's an open invitation. It's an invitation by letter and everything else. And I'm putting these law enforcement agencies on spot. I'm trying to do it on the news sources and everywhere. And we're going to see how they come to the aid of the search that's coming up on the 25th. And see if they're going to be a part of that. And that's going to show you guys the difference of how they treat certain cases versus the other. I had to ask for it, where you can see some of these cases, they get it on their own. The family don't have to do anything. These officers and things make themselves available in those ways. So, yes, it does happen that way, Jana. Unfortunately, it's a big problem in this country as well. The disparity is there. Some people don't want to believe it and say, hey, yeah, it happened. It does happen to everybody. But the majority, bulk of those things that happen there happen to people of color. And that's one of the real problems that we're gonna have to break in this country. This cycle, we have to break that sad cycle. All cases should be the same, regardless. I feel the same thing. A white family should get the same, should get that national attention, should get that urgency just as much as a black family should get that urgency and that same kind of treatment. So I believe in that. All families should do that and should be able to get that, especially in 2023. You guys, it's sad. Like I said this morning, it's sad to see that they're able to get the money, get the resources. They have the technology they use, the satellites to you name it, when it suits their interests, right? The law enforcement, the government, when it suits their interests. But when it comes to ordinary citizens, they claim they don't know how to find them. Like Buckeye, we can't get a cell phone ping. We can't get a camera footage. We can't get information off of Uconnect. That's in all those devices that's there to say, hey, where Daniel was at the time. They find a way to say they can't get it. That type stuff. The Waffle House footage. They just took pictures of a video, didn't get the full video to look at the whole thing. Don't want us to have it, obviously, something. And also the gas station, things like that. It's crazy and it's not even real that the law enforcement can say these things. And they'll say it to your face. They'll look you dead in the eye and feel like it's okay. They can say these things to you, you know, like me. They try to belittle me they think they can talk to me like a sucker or something. Sometimes I think with Buckeye telling me things. Hey, we had this low flying helicopter. Remember, you pull your hands up in the air, Mr. Rogers, you can touch the bottom of the plane. The man hanging out like, he was giving me some story like he saw a movie, an action hero movie or something. But they think they can talk to me that way. Hey, your son, maybe he joined a monastery, become a monk. You can say that things to a family. You don't see them say it to everybody, but they think they can to me, and so it's things like that. So you see the disparities, you see the things that they do, but I keep certain things a certain way I do things. I have my own tactics, you guys, but it comes down to a point where you have to start just being real and start speaking those things that are true, right? And some of that stuff is those disparities that you're saying, Jana, the racism and things like that comes out of these departments. Also, here you go. Video Real, thanks so much for being here. My heart aches for you, sir. Thanks so much for your prayers. I pray and I share. I hope I have hope and I have hope that you will get your answers. And I thank you so much. Thanks so much, Real Video. Thanks so much. I really appreciate for those positive energies as well. Thanks, Sophia, for being here. Thank you again for being a part of the team, being a part of the board, the secretary as well. There I go again. Shauna's gonna kill me. The treasurer, being the treasurer, and being here tonight moderating. So thanks so much and putting all the information out in the chats. Good evening, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the Primetime Q&A. I know I'm going to hear it at the end of the Q&A, but thank you so much again. Fast and prayer for Daniel. Thank you for the hashtag. Reminding people to use that hashtag. Thank you, Rona, for being here. I can't forgive Buckeye Police Department or the FBI, etc. is wrong in every way. Like I said, people take urgency based on how they want to do urgency. I heard the most excuses from the police departments in Arizona than I ever heard. Well, I didn't have to deal with police, so but what I see in public, behind the scenes, I'm sure a lot of families beside myself have been going through that with the police department. They give you every excuse. When they don't want to do something, trust me, they find ways not to do it. And they'll throw this stuff for their rules and policies and law, this, that, blah, blah, blah. But if it was a police officer, man, they can make things happen like it ain't funny. They'll forget it when what's the jurisdiction wouldn't matter. Who had the case wouldn't matter. They find ways to work together and find how to get other resources, and these agencies work together when it's one of their own. They got a blue on them. They got the word blue on them, or there's one of their family members, then it's a different story. And you have to watch it in real time when it happens. Like I'm saying, you guys, I'm building up a lot. There's a lot of cases in Buckeye, a lot of cases in Maricopa County. There's a lot of cases in Tempe where they treated cases similar to Daniel's, totally different. Totally different. That's some of the things we're putting together. So I'm gonna raise all of that, you guys. And when I put everything together, so law enforcement cannot say this is what we do. No, you got precedents of doing things a different way. But just for Daniel Robinson's case, you're doing it this way because you want to, because you don't really have that empathy. You really don't have that care. You're saying you do, but your actions speak something different. You're not trying. Maricopa County not trying. They started off that way. You tell me that in my face, but then declined to do the forensics on the vehicle. When you have the facility that taxpayers paid to get this high-tech facility that can handle that workload, can handle my son's vehicle, to get rid of that backlog of forensics that need to be done in that department. Money being spent for the department. They tell me no, they don't want to don't want to handle Daniel's things when they seen Buckeye. That's why I say I don't believe in if people say, hey, there's some good officers out there, I really want to believe that. I have a stepbrother, he's a former police officer as well. I have a good police officer in my team as well. Larnell, he's a former police officer as well. Jeff McGrath was former police as well. So you have some good officers out there. What I'm saying is that the whole department is not as good, only as good as the every link. When you got a bad link, that department's bad, especially the department is bad when they see something happen in another department, they're not doing something about it. If they can look at seeing what Buckeye did, and I have all these officers calling me from all across the country, from other countries as well, apologizing for what Buckeye is doing. They say that's not policing. I hear people in South Carolina, that is not policing. These are officers calling from all over the country saying this, but then they watch Maricopa County, they watch these other departments, they watch Buckeye Internal Affairs or whatever, and they watch them do these things and nobody's saying nothing. Nobody's jumping in and saying, hey, we need to take this case. We need to do something with this case, because that makes them bad too. So it's almost the same thing with cops arrest you guys. If you get picked up by some friend of yours, for instance, you don't know they got a pound of drugs in the car, some cocaine or something in the trunk, and you just get in the car with them, you ride into the store, you get pulled over by a cop, they check the trunk, you got drugs in there, all of you going to jail. And you'll be in jail for 20 years saying it wasn't mine. But when it comes to policing, they feel different. They feel like, hey, we got a bad car, it's just a bad apple. That's what they'll say. They use that terminology a lot. They knew they had a bad apple. They sat there and watched this bad apple. They gave this bad apple a place to stay, but then at the same time saying they are good cops. There's no such thing as a good cop when you're not doing the right thing, when you see things are going wrong, right? When Sheriff Zone declined to do the forensics, when he told me, he looked at my face and like he's a really good guy, I had great impressions about him personally. But then when he did this thing about he's not going to do the forensics, backtrack on that. He's not doing the forensics on that because I'm sure it's going to make him look bad politically or something. Being a bitch sheriff, like he said, coming in to take over my son's case. He worried about his image and his political career than my son's life. That's making him a bad person. That make him a bad cop. So that's the way I look at it. If you're not doing the right thing, you're just a bad person. And no matter how much you try to shine your shoes and make yourself look good, your outside look good, but your inside is tore up. So that's the kind of thing. You cannot sleep at night knowing that a father's out here searching for his son for over a year, doing everything I can. I'm not law enforcement, doing everything I can, and you're not trying to do everything you can as law enforcement, whatever agency you are, to really help. Do whatever you got to do to make this thing happen. You see it in national call as well, and you're trying to do everything you can not to help and to make it stay at Buckeyes, make Buckeye look good and try to prop them up and, oh, they did this and they doing this or whatever the case may be. Just trying to prop them up because you really care about the blue than you care about a life. And that's what I see. Thanks so much, Jana, for being here. Where is Nancy Grace? Yes, Nancy Grace did a great episode for me, you guys. I will play that again on this Q&A. Nancy Grace did a lot for, and I really appreciate her and her staff, her team. But yes, she did do an episode for Daniel. I was on the Nancy Grace as well. Where's Vinny Politan? I don't know who that is though. And where's John Wash? John Wash, I don't know either. He's one of the first persons I reached out to. I was able to get his the producers to, you name it, because I'm not going to say who exactly, but I was able to because of journalists that I had to deal with that was in the desert with me. I was able to get some information to actually reach out directly, right? So I did reach out directly, not talk to him directly, but reach out to his team. And the only thing I ask for, you guys, I'm not asking him to put me on a show or this. Only thing I asked John Wash is to he's a father. I was a father. I didn't know how to really start a search. That's during the time when I was trying to get searches going really well and do more. When I said working really well, I wanted to go to a next step. And so I reached out to John Wash many times through the CNN as well, because he's a contributor there at one point. And they ignored me. They ignored me. I didn't get anything back. Just only thing that was the things I was reaching out was to say, hey, I just need advice. Advice. What is the best step of trying to locate your son? What did you do? How do you do it? Trying to learn, just try to get some information that way. And that's the only thing I asked for John Wash. But I would love to have picked his brain because he's a man who's supposedly with his son Adam went through the same situation. Well, a lot different, but some ways different. But his son was missing. He went to go looking for his son. He knows how I feel, desperately looking for your child. And I just needed that kind of advice from someone who has been through that and actually, sitting on a level where he's getting all the help. Maybe he could tell me some way I can get the help that I need to find my son. So that's what I was really reaching out to him for. Also, someone please help this dad. Oh, thank you so much, Jane. I really appreciate it. God bless you too. Again, you guys, you can donate through the GoFundMe here. Thanks, Sophia, putting that up. That's on pleasehelpfinddaniels.com as well. And you got the petition. You can go to the petition, sign the petition, and that's on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. You'll see the petition tab as well for both. Both of those are there. So thanks so much, Sophia, putting it up. You can also print the flyers, you guys. I've been putting out thousands of flyers. My team and I, thousands of flyers all across this country, you guys. People have been taking them. We've been sending them out. I went to Vegas for a Crime Con event and put out thousands there. And, we know we can get them out there. That's a big hub with people coming in. I have never been in Vegas in my life, except when I drove through Vegas. I'd never actually been in Vegas. And at that point, I wasn't there for any kind of being able to enjoy Vegas. So today, I still haven't enjoyed Vegas at all. It just that I was able to, on the break of Crime Con, to go out in the street and go out and pass out flyers. The team and I, but we was able to get a lot of flyers out through the Crime Con event, and I was really happy about that. But definitely getting thousands of flyers all over this country, you guys. You guys have been helping me by doing that as well, asking for those flyers. Like I said, it's on the bottom of the screen, you guys. I'm putting it on the bottom of the screen. If you need those flyers, you can, like I said, go to PDF, get the PDF like Sophia have here off of pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. Or if you can't print them out yourself, you want us to send them to you, you definitely can hit us up on that email you see strolling on the bottom of the screen and request them. And we'll have Sophia. She will send those flyers out to you wherever you're located. So thank you, Sophia, for putting this information out there in the chats. You guys look at the moderators. Those who are on the YouTube can see all the things that they're putting out in the chats. That's why I'm only showing it on the screen for those who are on Facebook and on Twitter. But if you're on the Facebook, you can see what the moderators are putting on the chats. So that's the only disadvantage if you are not watching on the YouTube side. I did learn that. Also, let me see who else I have here. Sarah, thanks so much for being here. Jana, Nancy, and a few other big names talked about it. I'm sure of the others you named, but yes, this needs so much people to spread awareness. Yes, I really need that, you guys. I'm not a publicist. I'm not somebody who know to go out and get things out like this. Like I say, I'm telling you guys, I'm learning. I think I'm doing pretty decent, saying that, hey, there's something I have never done in my life, organizing things. I think my cousin told me the other day, we was talking on the phone, he said, man, that pulls it out of you. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when tragedies happen like this, things will pull things out of you. It is part of who you are. You was able to organize and put things together and stuff like that. That's God. I say God, yes, because I have never had to organize anything like this in my life. And so to be able to put things together, do all these things simultaneously, I give it all up to God. And I really appreciate him for giving me that wisdom, giving me that energy to be able to do it. Thank him for running and giving me the teams that I had. I had the desert teams out there to help me with the searches, to keep the searches coordinated and moving around. And then I have my team now that became my board members as well to help me just get things taken care of. So I've been fortunate. I have people like yourself, Sarah, and everybody who's coming into the Q&A and just following the whole story to help me in every way you guys can. Coming out to the searches, like I said, some of you going to come out to the searches coming up now. Some of y'all coming out to the protests that I'm having now. Some of y'all been making phone calls. All of that, all those work. I've been fortunate to get everybody to participate and do certain things. So I'm really grateful for that too. Also, thank you, another Marie. Thanks so much for being here on this Q&A prime time. Let's see who else I got here. Sophia, you putting a lot of good stuff up this evening. Volunteer to search here. You guys, you can volunteer to search on pleasehelpfinddane.com. But, also, I just want you guys, when you go on pleasehelpfinddane.com, I will direct you there as well. I'm going to change the website to say that. I need you to sign if you want to come to the searches. I need you to hit that event tab this time. And that's because, like I said, I'm trying to get that head count. So definitely need you guys to hit that events tab. And it'll take you to Eventbrite, and you can sign up there, almost like an RSVP. You can do it there. All right, and say who else I got here? I seen Jana again. Thanks so much again. Sarah Miller, they should stay on your story until he's found. Not just run the story, then move on, or until law enforcement is shamed into working harder for the conclusion of Daniel's story. I just feel so bad for his family. I would be nuts, but his dad is a rock solid in his purpose in finding son. So, it takes a lot of strength. My team know what I go through. You guys, at times, I'm human. We all have our moments. So it's not easy. It's easy. It's not easy. It may sometimes look, but it's not easy. When you constantly don't have to get no sleep, you constantly have to keep things going. If I didn't have a team, you guys, they saw the need. I have one of the team members. She saw that need. She was out in the searches. All of them was out in the searches, and saw that need and came to me. They formed a little group. She formed a little group, and they came to me and offered their help to do some of the little things that the tasks they do. They saw me running a desert search. They saw me running a city search, distribution. They saw me doing my own investigation, going out following leads, traveling to follow leads, and just, you name it. They saw that stuff going on at one time. They're like, man, how you doing all this at one time by yourself? And it was hard. It's hard. But then God bless me. They came and they put this stuff together, and they've been my team ever since, easing up a lot of this stuff, you guys, in the background. So again, I'm fortunate to have a really good team that's helping me out as much as they can as well. Again, thanks, Sophia, for putting information up again off the Facebook. You guys, if you guys want to donate and contribute, that's there on pleasehelpfinddane.com under the donation tab. Also, thank you, Sarah Miller, for being here again. Let's see who else I got here. But anybody have any questions? If you have any questions, don't forget to put the word question there for your question. Capital letter Q. I'm just kind of strolling down to see if I can find some. Or the word question, the capital letter Q, or some question marks. That'll help as I'm coming down to see your question. I have Sophia again. If you guys want to sign a petition, I still haven't updated it yet, but it need to be. But you guys can still sign a petition that will help with the upcoming protests as well. I can be able to use that in a constructive way. So I have you guys backing me, especially those who cannot make it to the searches or the protests that's coming up next month. Sign that petition. You have multiple email addresses. You can do it multiple times as well. So definitely go to change.org. But go to pleasehelpfinddane.com and hit that petition button, and it'll take you to change.org, and you can sign that petition. Well, I don't like to say sign a petition. I like to say put your voice to that petition because you're speaking out on my behalf. You're with me. Everything. If you believe in everything I'm doing, you guys sign a petition, and it backs me up because I have those numbers. We had 123,926 voices. And so, you guys, thanks so much for that. All right, and let's see who I got. I don't see any questions. You guys have any questions? Feel free to ask those questions. You guys, thank you, Anissa. There you go again. Thank you so much, and I have the question right there. So thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate you for your donations, your constant donations that you've been doing on this Q&A, keeping this Q&A going and keeping me going as well. I really appreciate you for your love, your tangible love at that. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. God bless you and your husband. You have a question here. Do you know what type of red paint was transferred onto the vehicle? I do not know. We only can, but it's not just a red paint, you guys. It's red paint, the most noticeable one, but further detail of it, you see also is a small smidgen of yellow there as well, yellowish white, but there's definitely red transfer paint there. My investigator trying to, at the time, former investigator, wanted to find out where those paint sets came from. So that's why it's important that Maricopa County they have the lab facilities to determine that kind of stuff, to find out where that red transfer paint came from, to find out about the airbags, to find out, there's all of that stuff, that facility can help me. Maricopa County can help me, but the sheriff of zone personally decided not to in that way. Go to Buckeye. He's shooting it back over, passing the ball back over to a department that have tarnished and messed up my son's case. So that's ridiculous. Like I said, that don't make you a good person when you're able to do that and you see something wrong and you have the power to intervene and you just don't. You don't on purpose. You put in your conscious brain and you say, no, I'm not going to do it. The type of paint may give some indication of what source of paint, what source of the paint could be. Fence, another vehicle, etc. Yes. You know what? I have investigation too. That's what I'm saying, you guys. I have some real strong places that really strong where that red transfer paint came, where the vehicle was located, and all this kind of stuff. By all means, I can tell you guys, it's so much I can't say about that whole thing when the vehicle showed up 2 days before it found in the desert, where it really was. The place that Buckeye doing everything they can to say it wasn't Dane's vehicle without evidence, the fact that the red transfer paint came from possibly from my own investigation, possibly came from someplace, something that happened in that area. I can't put that out. That's still something I'm not putting out, even to law enforcement right now, until they show some interest. They should know these things. That's what I'm trying to say. Law enforcement, they should know these things. That's one part of something I'm keeping part of my investigation. My own personal. I had a couple of investigations going on. I had an investigation going on with of course, Buckeye claiming they're doing the case investigation, but I have my own investigation going on with one other source that helping me try to find Daniel. He's also a PI. I have my PI. You guys know, because I'm not put up first one out, but I have my PI Jeff McGrath at the time, who was my PI at the time. He's doing his investigation. I've been doing my own investigation in conjunction of getting information from Mr. McGrath as well as the other PI. And then I had got a third PI out of Washington State to actually help me get some things together. So I have a lot of ways that I've been getting information, also from sources like John Q and some of these other folks who internet sleuths been looking at some things, and that gave me some leeway to start looking at things farther and get some information as well. So also from the specialized search, you guys know that I did. You guys probably remember last summer I was putting the search together. Every weekend I got searches out there off Sun Valley Parkway, but I did this thing called a specialized search, and I did that for a reason. That was part of my investigation as well. That yielded me a lot of answers to where Daniel's vehicle really was and things like that. So if I can do those things myself, you guys, without the technology that law enforcement have, and they yet have to caught up, maybe I am doing a better job than what the law enforcement is doing. But I can't say what the FBI is doing, but that's what Buckeye is saying. I'm doing better. They said the FBI said they didn't want to come in my son's case because I'm doing a great job on my own. Now, what family you think they would say that to? Again, I say it's a racial thing because you not tell a family you on your own, basically. We're not coming. You doing the job on your own. We don't need to come in. That type deal. Who would say that to a person? But those are kind of things the Buckeye Police Department could say to me. They think they could say to me and just be okay with it consciously. All right. So, all right, have Leah here, and thank you so much again, Anissa. Again, God bless you for that super chat. Leah Woods, I feel the law enforcement knows exactly what happened to Daniel, and for some reason they are covering up. Yes, I feel the same way. It's a big cover up. And too many people are associated and things like that as well. They are letting everyone keep searching, etc., knowing the true situation. It will eventually come out. It will, because I have a lot of information as well. This father is a true warrior and a man of God. Yes, thank you so much. And he will get this figured out. Yes, because I trust in God. Just like you say, I am a child of God, and I know that He's going to guide me. That's why I pray, and that's why I believe in prayer, and I believe in fasting, because if it would happen faster, this is my son. I want it to happen urgently, but sometimes things are God allows certain things to happen a certain way, because if things didn't happen the way, I wouldn't have no Daniel Robinson Foundation. I wouldn't have some of these things I was able to do to try to help other families as well as I'm going on this journey. So sometimes things happen in a way that good things do come out of bad situations as well, right? So I see it as a necessary need. Maybe that's the reason why God allowing these things happen, taking so long. But at the same time, I'm trusting Him. I have to have faith. If you guys look at the introduction, I have this word I have is in foreign in Hebrew, but I changed the word to faith so you guys can see what it really says. But that's what it is. I believe in faith. Um, um, uh, uh, Speaking of that, I know I'm changing the Q&A. I hope you guys bear with me on this. But because I was talking about faith, and I feel what you're saying, that Leah, I'm going to share a story with you guys that I share all the time. I used to share it with the church when I was a kid growing up. I just share it with people as I got in the military. But when I first learned about faith, my sister and I hope my mother don't get mad at me. I hope sister is not mad at me for telling the story. But this is something I will like to share. Um, we didn't come from a rich family. My mother's a single parent. It was just my sister and I. My mother didn't have any food. One day, we ran out of food, and this is a real story. My sister and I was outside playing. She's sitting outside. I think she felt like, if we were playing it, we're not really thinking about eating at the time. I don't know what my mother's thinking, but we was out playing in the front yard, and she called us. We knew we didn't have any food, right? She called us in to eat. David Bridge come in the house. So we went in the house, real excited. She said, "Hey, you come in to eat." Whatever. We was really happy. Was hungry, ready to eat. She said she had the table made up, had the nice cloth, the nice china on the table, and everything looking really pretty, really nice, right? Set me at the head of the table, set my sister down, and she had these plates sitting there. And she went in the kitchen, and she had I saw the steam coming off the pot in the kitchen, and I remember she grabbing. I didn't smell anything, but I could see the steam. But she came out with a pot, and she had this big spoon in it, this big pot. And she dipped it in that pot, and she took the spoon, and it was filled with water. And she put the water on a plate, and she put it on my sister's plate. And then she says, "Eat." And we looked at each other like my mother was crazy. Like, this is crazy. What she mean, eat? You put water on the plate. We was really uptight. We said, "No, just do what I tell y'all. Just take your spoon and pretend like you're eating. Pretend like you're eating. Just do it." So we thought it was the strangest thing in the world, but we did it. We had been obedient, did it. We supping that water. Um, and this is God's truth, you guys. While we was doing that, actively doing that, my mother got a knock on the door. It was some lady back in the day. You can tell how old I am now. They didn't have the plastic bags, of course. They had the paper bags. But anyway, lady come knock on the door. She said, God put it on my heart to, for verbatim, I get the exact words, but put on my heart to bring y'all groceries, bags of groceries, probably like 5, 10 bags. I don't know. There's a lot of it. But we had so much food. We had so much food in the house that from that one lady that we didn't have enough to put in the cabinet. We had to put them on the counter. There's so much food. We had so much food because of that. But that's one thing I'm saying. I kind of gave you the rough draft, but that's a little deeper than that. But that's because of faith. That was something that my mother taught me. Faith is an action word, right? I hear people all the time tell me, say, "Hey, look, my loved one is missing." They're hurt and they're broken. Yes, I get it, because I'm hurt and I'm broken. But until you go out and do something about it, you can talk all you want to. You know what I'm saying? You can talk all you want to. You say, "I have faith." I have someone to tell me, and I'm not going to say who it is, say, "Well, I believe that God's going to bring Daniel back." And I'm not doing nothing. I'm just praying. And you can pray till your face turn blue, you guys. But if you don't put no actions behind your faith,
It don't mean nothing. Nothing will happen. You cannot say, God, I want a job, and you're not out looking for a job. God, I want, whatever. I'm not preaching you guys, but I'm saying is that's one thing I learned about faith, and my faith is about my actions. My faith is not me saying, hey, and I'm praying to you guys, well, I'm praying for you guys on Q&A, and I say I'm just praying that God's going to lead me in the right direction. No, I'm going to look for the right direction. And as I'm looking, he's going to guide me in the right direction. But if I just sit here and don't do nothing, you guys, not trying to get Daniel's story out there, not trying to, do everything I can, then I'm not expecting to find Daniel. I'm not doing anything, So I have to do some actions with your faith. That's the reason why I say, you guys, people can say things to you, law enforcement put something in a report, say they look this way and they doing this, but they really not. You can look at the actions, you guys. I always look at actions. Actions speak louder than words. My mother told me that, and I really believe that. Faith comes with action. So you can believe all you want to, but until you put some action behind something, you're doing it for nothing. You got to put your foot forward. Put your foot forward for what you want. My mom told me, for instance, you want something in life, you got to work for it. You got to put your hand to it and go do it. So anyway, that's enough of that. Jasmine, thank you so much for being here. God bless you. What incompetence of how the police, incompetence of how the police handled this. Yes, I wish you success in finding answers to your son's disappearance, and I really appreciate that, Jasmine. God bless you for that. Thank you, E. Sands, as well, for being here. Thank you guys for all your kind words and things. Thanks so much, Jasmine, as well, for your kind words. God bless you. Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. Like I said, thank you. Also, Jana, thank you again. Thank you for your prayers. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the positive energy, the strength. And yes, and I'm going to keep on fighting. As long as I have people like yourself that's in my corner, that helps out a whole lot. So thanks so much, you guys. Like Sophia have here, if you guys have any questions, you can put the capital letter, put the word Q, the capital letter Q there, the question mark, or the word itself, question. And I can find you as I'm coming down the comment section. Also, you guys, I'm still gonna do this again. Nobody ever take me up on it. I know nobody want to get on the camera, but I put it there just in case somebody want to. If you want to jump in on this Q&A with me on the screen, I will let you in. And if you want to have a discussion, or you want to talk about your missing loved one, or you just have a question or whatever, you just want to be here, I got I put it in the chats there for you all to copy paste, or however you see it come on your screen, and come on the StreamYard right now, and I can let you in. Team members, the same thing. Larnell, if you're there, if you want to come on, you can do that as well. No Name, thanks so much for being here. Please find strength in knowing. That so many of us are praying for you on your journey to find Daniel. I know that. Thank you so much, No Name. I really feel that, and I know that. I see it all the time, and I really appreciate everybody who's been praying. People say don't believe in prayer. I do, because I wouldn't be able to, much as I pushing myself to do it, I don't think it would have went nowhere if I didn't have people like yourself praying for me, and really having that faith, saying, things like that. So I was about to go into a Bible thing, you guys. Y'all probably say, oh man, this man turned to some kind of preacher. No, I just knew a lot about stuff when I was growing up as a kid. And it's remind me of a lot of things that I read in the Bible, of things about faith and stuff like that, and how things really work when on your behalf, when you do certain things a certain way. Thank you, Barry, for being here. Also being the vice president of the Daniel Ross Foundation. I really appreciate you take your time and being here, and always supporting and moderating and things. Thank you so much as well for being here. And No Name have a question. Thanks to No Name for the question. Can Cold Case Foundation offer any assistance? I believe I spoke with someone at Cold Case Foundation. I'm not sure, but I'm sure they can. Even though Dan's case is not a cold case, but I'm sure, in some aspects, people will see it as a cold case because law enforcement not doing much at all anymore, at all, period. So some people say, oh, yeah, it's cold, but it's not cold because I'm here, But yes, definitely, I know they can offer some assistance in some form or fashion. They can. I really believe that. So thanks so much for that. And let's see who else. Anybody else have any questions? Scooby-Doo Life. Thank you so much. The epitome of selflessness. Those people who selflessness. Those people who want to help you search. That's I'm not really understanding that one there, but thank you so much for your comment there, the Scooby-Doo for Life. And people is out there spending their time out in the searches, out there with me when the sun was hot, 118 degrees. I admire everybody who's out there. I call them my extended family. I really mean that. I love each and every last person that's been out there with me. They show more love than some people I know. You guys travel. I have people travel from California. I had a young lady. She know who she is. I don't want to put her name out here, but she knows she is. She's listening. She brought her young son from California just to go searching out there in the desert with me. Have people from a lot of people come from out of California, from different parts of Arizona as well. Have some even come from South Carolina. Have my best friend Freeman come from South Carolina twice to be out there in that desert with me. So, you got people that actually would show love. They would actually come out and physically show their love in that fashion. So I really appreciate that. And those who cannot do it, is like I said, it's no takeaway from what people do, because people can help in all kind of ways, whether it's like you guys already give me the help me with my morale, give me all that positive energy. That is helping me. You guys ones that donated, that's helping me. Those who are passing Daniel's flyers out, that's helping me. Those who giving word of mouth, those are helping me. So everybody have their own way of helping. So I really appreciate every last one of you guys that's doing things right here for my son, doing this stuff for my son. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Sophia, for putting that on the website. Is pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. That's the only website, you guys. I had two websites. It was searchfordaniel.org. I didn't need two searches. One website was for the searches, and one was for the family page. So I just incorporate all that together. You go to searchfordaniel.org, you still come to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. That page don't exist anymore. I just redirect it to that. But that's the only page that you can. There's no other websites, you guys. No other websites. Only website that's associated, going to be tied with me in the future that's coming up, is a Daniel Robinson Foundation website. That's the only one that would be tied with me, .org. And definitely that's the only one. That'll be the only one of that too. So it'll only be two websites. But for right now, this is the only website that's associated with me in dealing with Daniel. So that's another. Thanks so much for your question. Also, Jana, where Daniel clothes tested for biological evidence? No. And that's what I'm asking Maricopa County to do. We don't recognize those clothes. I don't even think those are my son's clothing. Those put down on the ground too to say it's his clothing. One thing, you got to use common sense as well. And this is Maricopa County. This is supposed to be Maricopa County dogs that see, Buckeye put Maricopa County into this, right? They say, they use their dogs. The rancher said they only had one dog from Maricopa County, and that dog came at 10 o'clock at night. They took it out almost an hour. They brought it back to the truck, and they said a mountain lion out there was tracking the dog or something or other. And it wasn't. He don't even think it was a cadaver dog, and it was some kind of other kind of dog. But anyway, but Buckeye saying they use all these dogs, right? And what the story they told me after they waited over 24 hours to let me know that Daniel vehicle was found in the desert. So I don't know what they were doing in between time, but they waited over 24 hours for whatever reason to alert me of that. And but in the meantime, like I said, they said they used these dogs, right? And they said, hey, we didn't find no track. We couldn't track Daniel going nowhere. Nothing. These dogs didn't track nothing, right? That's what they're saying. They didn't track nothing. But yet, if that was my son's clothing, when you think if he was so-called shred his clothes off and walked off butt next to what, they got the DNA stuff right there, the clothes, right? If that was his clothing, the dog that get a dog to send them clothing, the dog's supposed to take them to where this person went, right? Common sense. So I'm saying I look at common sense, and I know Maricopa County, I know Tempe see the stuff, right? And they choosing. That's what I'm saying. The whole point I'm saying, you guys, they choosing to stand up for another police department. They're choosing over my son's life. They're choosing over right from wrong. They're choosing to do that to me. That's what I'm looking at it. That's the only way I can see. I use common sense, things that make sense to me, and you just can look at the reality and say, what the hell are they doing? Excuse my expression. So yes, the clothes wasn't tested, Jana. There was nothing, no kind of forensics done on the scene. There's pictures taken, like the rancher said. They took a lot of them, according to him too as well. He took pictures as well. You guys, I tell you, I can show you every picture from angle from the drone footage. They never produced in this helicopter footage. They claim they did as well, but they did drone. It kind of coexists in the drone. The rancher didn't know the story that was going to come in their report and the things that Buckeye was eventually going to tell. This is before the report and stuff. The rancher said there was no helicopter out there, according to him. They out here now, they got a report. They sent us something there. We got a report saying the helicopter was there. He said there was no helicopter. They had drones. And when I got everything from Chief Hall, he said he gave me all the pictures that they have, right? Because they was finishing the case. They said, and I'm gonna file. They gave me everything. And the only thing I have you guys on file, they got it on the flash drive. I still have it. Is drone footage. So it matches up what they gave me. Matches up with the story of the rancher. He told me before all of this was out. They only had drone. I had to change their razor tire. They only had one razor. They had, and he counted the officers out there. And you know what the funny part about that? He told me how many it was out there. You look at their own footage with those drones, and you look at every officer you see on the ground. He was right. The numbers that he put out there was exactly what's on that footage, right? On the when I say footage, not drone footage, but the pictures. And so I'm saying is there's no forensic markers on the ground. They literally told me that in a meeting that I had a few days after they told me about my son's vehicle and turned it over to me, that they didn't do no forensics. I asked them, I got angry in that meeting. I asked them to demanded them to do that fingerprinting. They say they did the fingerprinting, but they also saying they swabbed the steering wheel now and thing they said they did before I took that vehicle out of there with Mr. McGrath. As in for the clothing to this date, no, there's no forensic testing to say that, but Maricopa County is cool with that. Buckeye don't have no facility to do that, but Maricopa County, but they cool. Sheriff is on again. He's choosing not to do it. Choosing not to do it. Head of facility is in his jurisdiction. He's choosing not to help me after over a year. And he looked me in my face, gave me a rosary, gave me his condolences, him and his wife, what's going on in my family. I really thought really highly of the guy. You know, it's hurtful to see that. You see how law enforcement, when it comes to your child's life, and they can look you dead in the eye and say, my condolences or whatever the case may be, but then the actions does something else. That's hurtful when you can look a person in the eye and obviously don't mean it, but you're able to do that and give them an impression that you care by doing something, by giving you a rosary from off his neck, you know, that type deal. You know, so I don't take things no more. When I look at people, until I see those actions, I don't believe nothing they say. I don't believe anything they say. But no, there was no evidence, nothing taken to this date. I still have those things in my possession. That's why I'm desperately trying to get it done, because I don't know how long DNA lasts or they degrade, and those are evidence that can save my son's life. And if God forbid if something happened to my son, can get my son the justice that he deserved. And it's being tarnished and destroyed because of law enforcement, not because of me. I'm doing the best I can. I'm storing them in facilities that I try to research myself and try to make sure nothing lose the chain of custody. First of all, like the vehicle, I have never even touched that vehicle ever. Trying my best to do everything in a certain way that I'm just learning as a civilian, as a person, as a father who's grieving. Don't have time to even grieve for my own son, just because I'm trying to make sure I stay sharp enough to do what I'm doing. Then I have to fight against law enforcement to do the right thing. So they should have those things in evidence lockers at their police departments under the right conditions. In case something comes up that shows foul play, they would have those things on the record, or whatever case may they do, and they'll be able to help my son in the case. They don't want to, because to me it's a cover up because of some of the information that I'm gathering as well, that would suggest that strongly. And that's the reason why none of them is really willing to put themselves out like that. Also, Marine, thanks so much for being here. You are doing amazing work to search for your son, Daniel, your son Daniel, and to raise awareness with media and the public, and with the public. It is hard work. Thanks so much. Wondering if you have you gotten any support from your state governor or those in Arizona? I too had Daniel missing. I too had a Daniel missing. So I get it. And you say you had a Daniel missing. I'm not saying you have your son missing. If you did, I'm really sorry that you're going through that. And I know exactly what you're feeling. And I hope you get some answers as well. I'm not sure that's what you're saying. You say you have a Daniel missing. I'm not sure what you mean by that. But if you are saying that your loved one is missing, I'm sorry that you're going through that, Marine. Trust me, I know exactly what you're feeling. But thanks so much for the kind words as well. As in South Carolina, yeah, I didn't reach out to the governor and things like that. But I have been doing local media in South Carolina, my hometown, as well in Charleston, South Carolina, where Daniel went to school, college. And but the school itself, I've been reaching out lately to them to try to see if they can help as well, support. They did his school did the hike for Daniel, so I'm really grateful for them doing that as well. But yes, there's a lot of people are reaching out, especially in Arizona. Some of those officials, like I said, that just got elected and things like that, reach out to them to try to see where they can help the governor and so on and so on. So I have my avenues and things working in the background that I'm doing too. There's a lot of work, Marine, not just what you guys see on Q&A, but my team and I, we do a lot of a lot of send out letters to you, name it, to whatever, emails to meetings or whatever the case may be, to try to get some stuff going for Daniel. Also, thank you, Daughter Finney, again, so much for your super chat. I really appreciate that. You're such a wonderful person. Thanks so much for your support and your constant love by coming into this Q&A, this YouTube channel, and supporting Daniel, trying to help me find my son. So I really appreciate it. My heart is with you, yours, with Daniel and your family. I really appreciate that. We need that, Daughter Finney. I really believe that because you're constantly here. Like I said, this is not an entertainment channel, but you guys are sticking there with me. You hear some of the same things, but you guys are constantly supporting me in every way you can, spending your evenings and your mornings and stuff like that with me. So thanks so much. Also, thank you again for being here off the Facebook side. I hope there's media to cover that as well. Yes, I will be reaching out. I have a lot of journalists and reporters that talk to me, especially Dateline. Robert Dean is his name. He's a really good guy. Some of these people, man, you like Sarah Seiner from CNN and some of these other ones, when they're not busy, those are very busy people. They actually call you guys. I had Chris Kumo give me his personal number and say, hey, he got a friend for life type deal. So some of these people, they are real people. They're really busy. At the same time, I know they're busy. But they'll say at the same time, they're like real people. When they do have a moment, they say, hey, Ms. Robinson, checking on you. How things going? Any new leads? But one of the problems I have is that they will always say, is there any new leads? Because those new leads is what give you exposure for on the national stage. There's nothing new. They're not going to carry your story. I give News Nation partnered up with me down that way, regardless of the fact of not too much news at all. News Nation find a way to keep Daniel's story on their platform. So I do give News Nation some of that credit with that. But the other ones, like I said, the personal person like Sarah Seiner, Robert Dean, and some of these other ones that actually, call or something to check, they don't own the network. You know what I'm saying? That's why they need those new leads or things that will give a story in a sense for them to put on. They don't make the decision what plays on the air. That's what I'm trying to say. So they have producers and all this other stuff going on. So, but their heart is that they wish they can help in that way. If that gets it, they had their own channel, their own station. Yeah, they're playing Daniel all the time. His story. But yes, I had to go with that. Also, thank you again, Sophia, for putting us up. Where we have 64 people. Thank you. Thank you guys, everybody who signed up for the search. I really appreciate it. Like, when I see that email coming up, team show me that really make me smile. Got people signing up for the search. I just need 200 people minimum, you guys. That's a small amount. Anything else over there is great. It's great because that gives me even more opportunity to search more of the area. I just want to complete all the areas that's left to be completed, but I'm only have one time to be out there. So I try to find the area. But if I get most, when I get up with 200 or 300 people, then I can do the other areas too. Just knock it all out at one time, and that would make me, it brings so much relief to my heart and my mind, because I definitely know what the desert does to a person. And it also made me feel a lot better that I was able to at least try to look for Daniel in this area, if God forbid that somebody did something and put him out there. All right. Also, I have a question here from SW. Thanks so much, 4x4 Explorers. Question is, if not able to walk, is there another job I can do? Foot surgery. Yes. Well, that's a lot of things. We have a command center as well. We may need help with that. Depends on how many people. Like I said, we definitely have people that's helping others. Like, for instance, first aid. We have a medic there as well. But there's always room for people to be able to help. Maybe you can man the radio. So it's a little things like that. I do have a team that will be doing those things, but a lot of times we do need a person or persons to add to that team for the command center. So yes, definitely there, SW. I really appreciate you, and God bless. And I hope that you heal really quickly, and God, get that healing really fast on your foot, and your foot get better. So, thanks so much for being here and supporting. All right, Dog Defender, thank you again too for your question. First, how are you? How are you? I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking. I really appreciate that. I'm doing okay. I'm really keeping myself that way. I got people on my back too about it, so I'm keeping myself that way. So thank you for asking asking that question. Secondly, just so I wanted you to know, the bar to get into the PF is so low. Yes, I think I'm trying to understand what you're saying, to get into we say the PF. I'm trying to get that part of it. The bar is really low, but just a pulse is necessary. Daniel was 10 times more educated. Okay, I think I know now. I get what you're saying. Okay, they are not bright, and most of them have no love, and I really believe that. Yeah, I really believe that. It depends. It depends. Sometimes people do get jealous of an educated man. He's a scientist, so the police force can look like, you know what? Look, man, they ain't really going to look like I'm saying, you guys. I'm not calling everybody in Buckeye racist, because I'm telling you guys, there was a lot of people from Buckeye that came out to searches to help, right? And they showed so much love. I mean, anytime the searches are from 5:45 in the morning to 10, sometimes 11. But we stand out there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in a dead hot summer trying to rescue Daniel. And a lot of these people from Buckeye, I really appreciate them. I love them for what they're doing. But at the same time, they can tell you as well, there's a lot of bad elements that live in Buckeye as well. A lot of them kind of congested in one area. And so, some of this association that's going on, like I told Sheriff Zone, there's a bad conflict of interest with the police department of Buckeye, with some of the players in this game, of what's going on in my son's case. So it's a lot of that going on, and these people are not good characters that's out there. So it says a lot. It says a lot. I went to Buckeye for the first time, you guys. This is the only time I've experienced a nasty thing. I don't know if the guy's racist or not. All I know is I came in because not Larry, but Detective Biffin asked me to come up to the police department to speak to him about something. I forgot exactly what I was meeting him up there for. But I walk into the police station. They had this big glass window in the shopping center, but they had this glass window, and some white guy was sitting there in the behind, this little older guy sitting there. I said, "Hey, how you doing?" Say, "Yeah, what you want?" Just yelling at me through the glass. I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute, man. I just asked how you, he said, "What you want?" I said, "Well, I'm here to speak to Detective Biffin." "Well, he ain't here. What you want with him?" I said, "Well, he asked me to come up here." I mean, I just literally got off the phone with him. And, he was yelling at me. Make a long story short, he called some other ladies who came out, and she asked me what I wanted. I'm like, well, the man asked me to come up here, whatever. I thought I was about to get arrested, to be honest with you guys, for no reason, just coming and walking in the police department. Then they say he ain't here. She said so she gonna let him know, and she wrote something on a piece of paper, my name and everything. As soon as I walk out the door, I call him. He said, "Oh, I'm here." He came walking out the side door. I mean, it was horrible situation. So I'm saying, just the attitude of the Buckeye Police Department with that, the attitude of the city council. You guys know I've been to the city council twice. I went there the first time for them to see who I am. I didn't say anything. The second time I did request to speak, and I got them out. I forgot how many minutes. It was really short. And and those people stone faced, no empathy. You can see nothing. It's almost like talking to stone, and you see no love. It's almost like they wanted me to get out of their city council meeting. No love. They have never to this date even acknowledged me in their city. Back when I was talking with Buckeye, back when I was out there desperate searching for my son, trying to do a rescue, volunteers out there, we find other human remains, bringing closures in their city to other families out there somewhere. Finding other suspicious items, clothing, pile of clothing on the ground, like my son's clothing, the clothing that was on the outside of that vehicle, in a pile of somebody else. Just certain little things, right? Just being able to just doing what I'm doing out there. Not one time did the mayor, the city manager, the assistant mayor, none of them, the city council say, even off the thing, say, "Oh, my prayers with you. God bless you." I'd rather for them, to be honest with you guys, I'd rather for them to say, "Get the heck out of my town." So I'd rather at least you say something. You know, they haven't even done that. So shows a lot. You know, it's about the city. It shows about the system they have in Buckeye. I cannot literally say or call somebody a racist, but they do racist things, right? The way their attitudes are. So those type of stuff. But anyway, I have Lauren here as well. Lauren Bryant, thanks so much for being here off the Facebook side. If you have no experience being in the desert climate, will we be helpful in the search? Yes, I have a lot of experience in the desert climate. I have definitely, I'm a veteran, first of all. I have a lot of heat training because of that as well. Is we have all the safety measures there. That's where I have a command center. That's why we have to have a cooler spot. So all those things are important. Somebody even asked me in the past, Lauren, you know, why it costs money to search? It better cost money to search. That's almost asking law enforcement why they spend $1 million to find that murderer that killed the young lady that you guys know nationally. They spent over $1 million on this one guy who was a murderer before they found out he murdered this young lady. So it costs money. It costs resources to do the right thing. If you got people on the ground, you best believe you better have. I'll use this way. One time I had she might be in here on the Q&A as well, but I had a volunteer, very dedicated, come out all the time, but I was going low on funding for my search. So I started cutting back on things. I cut back on the command center. Start cutting back on. We still had a medic there. She was riding around the pickup truck, but I had to cut down on the pickup truck and the UTVs and ATVs that I had to rent out every week. Right, I had to cut back on all of that, and even had a van. I was cut back down to a van just to make sure I get out that desert out there to search for my son because people was dedicated to help me. Went and I did that search that day. I felt so bad, you guys, because I went out there to do that search. The young lady, she ended up having a heat injury, right? We know what heat injuries are. I learned that when I was in military. She had a heat injury. Scared me to death. I took that van across that desert, trying to go get her and get in their vehicle to cool off so I can get her to the medic. The medic was in the pickup truck on the other side of the desert. We're trying to coordinate to get each other, get her there. And the van got stuck. Then we sit in the van. Even though she's in the cool van, I got AC running. Finally got in the van, but we're stuck. We couldn't get her to the medic. That's a bad situation, you guys. I said I would never ever have another search after that. I had to put my searches on pause. And the reason why is because I'm not willing to risk anybody's life out there in the desert just to find my son. I'm just not willing to do that. And I'm really grateful for people who's very dedicated. They go out on a week on their own out there in the searches. The young lady who found the human remains a couple Saturdays ago. She's part of my searches. She's very dedicated. She live out there. I want to put her name out as well. As you guys have read it already. But very dedicated. She calls me all the time. She always out there. I get on her all the time because I'm really worried about her being out there in that desert by herself a lot of times. But the thing is, dedicated people. But I'm not willing to risk people's lives over Daniel. And that don't make sense to me. You belong to somebody else, your loved one. I love you. You belong to somebody else. You have family members that love you as well. It's not worth risking your life to find my son. We're not gonna do that. So it do cost money to make sure you have the proper equipment. It do cost money to have the command center. It do have money to do things right. Make sure you have food, drink, water, whatever, to be able to sustain people if something was to go wrong. Have a plan. All that kind of stuff matters. So yes, I know what I'm doing when it comes to a desert climate. And I just want to make sure everybody's safe. So you guys look at the flyer that I have a list of things that you guys should bring if you want to come out to the desert, the proper shoes that you should be wearing, the clothing and things like that. So, just some of those things are common sense, but, still I kind of spell it out there for people who want to come out and search. We have a very great search. We've been fortunate that we didn't have any injuries or any kind. We do have some people who did get hot and things like I say, hit injuries who need to get. That's what ATVs are for. The side by sides I rent out the 4-seaters because I can get a volunteer who just can't make it no more, who's hiking, can't make it no more, pick them up, get them to the command center, cool off, get themselves, and whatever. Those whole things are very important. Also, I have justice for Georgia Leah Moses. I don't know what this is either, but I'm really, really praying for you and your family. If you say justice for Georgia, so you guys hear that. I don't know what it's all about, but definitely want to have prayer for justice. Your family. And thank you so much for joining in on the Q&A on YouTube. If you want to speak about your loved one or speak about the circumstances behind that Justice for Georgia, you can. You're welcome here to do that here on the Q&A as well. I did put a link in the right now if you want to get on. For instance, I did put a link in the comment section if you want to get on. I'm calling you Justice, but it said Justice for Georgia. You can. But I want to read your comment. It said you're shedding light on a very big problem. It's unfortunate and heartbreaking breaking fight, but you're going to help so many people along the way. Keep the faith, and I really believe that. And thank you for saying that. I really believe that. I couldn't have it no other way. Saying, guys, I wouldn't be human. Like I said many times before, out there in the desert, and you hear people constantly come to you and to tell you about their stories. And I have not one time. And I'm being honest with you, some people have loved ones been missing 10 to 15 years, right? And when you talk to them, and they out there helping me search for Daniel. Now you out there, you talk to them, they're not talking about their loved one like they've been missing for 10 to 15 years. They're talking about like it happened yesterday. And that's a tragedy, that people have to go through things like that, not having answers to what happened. And you have to have that thing in your head all the time about wondering what happened. You don't have answers. One thing to have answers to get some form of closures, like some of those families were in the surgery, we was able to get some of those human remains found out there at the same time. Those who don't have answers, it's an ongoing thing forever, almost. Have a friend of mine that lives in Florida, her brother. You guys see me highlight his story on my family press conference and things like that. And I will have him here again on this Q&A. But she's been searching for her brother for a long time. And every time I talk to her, she's still feeling just as hurt as it was when it first happened as it is today. So people go through things. So I'm praying for you as well, and you and your family. For you will get justice for Georgia and Georgia Leah Moses, and I'll be praying for you as well. So thanks so much, and everybody here is praying for you as well. I'll speak on their behalf. So thanks so much. Also, I have Kimberly be here. I find it odd that he is saying they are pushing him out when they have allowed him to search for 18 months now. They are developing the land out of there, so I'm not sure how long they expect to have access. Plymouth Rock stop the ground searches. I'm not sure what you're speaking about there, Kimberly, but yes, they are developing those lands, and we have been searching for a while. But I won't say 18 months. It was been searched for 18 months, but it was definitely about a year. Within, like I said, a good length of time. We killed over 35,000 acres of land, over 45 weeks of searches. So you can add that up and see how many months that was, right? So, but yes, they are pushing me out. They are pushing me out. So some people don't, like I said, you say you don't believe that. You don't have the conversation I have on the phone with these folks. So, but those are things I'm telling you guys, and I've been pushed out. But I was fortunate to be able to stay there as long as I could. But yes, that's a definite fact that I was asked to try a couple times to get me out of that desert. All right. So thanks so much. Let's see who else I got here. He's saying, thanks so much. They want the people of that town to keep voting for them. They can't disappoint the folks on the sundown town. Yes, and I don't know what's going on with those areas, but those are the experiences I have. You guys, I had to share those experiences. Like I said, I would not be able to call people racist, but there's some racist things that goes on. Could it be that someone? Thanks, Captain, for your question. I'm getting close to the end, you guys, so I'm trying to squeeze the question. I'm trying to skip some of the comments and go straight to the questions so I can get your questions in from this point. So you got the questions, put the cap letter Q like Kimberly did, question mark, or the word question before your question. I can find it. Could it be that someone took a payoff to say that there's enough water for the new development and they didn't want Daniel out there that day to discover the truth? Maybe that's the real reason Ken tried to stop him from going to the well site that day. I don't know what those is. Also, things I don't know, but those things can come to your mind. One thing I do know is that my son had took a pictures of a report from the first well site. Those two wells, all those wells, the underground water stream, they all connected. So the job is you just don't check the wells in the area. You have to check these systematic wells to do that science to find out how much water is under that ground that can sustain that 100 years and stuff like that. So everything my son did was important. It happened to be in June. It happened that he hit that report from June. And then the new administrator came in, the governorship, and they was pissed about it. Of course, released it to the public that ASU or some of these other colleges was asking for that report, and they finally got it. And so it's in the public that states there's not enough water for this to support this project that they're doing, but they're going anyway. They're trying to find ways around it. You, like I was saying, you guys, once we get the stuff together, you'll be surprised all the people who's tied into making money off this project, and then you'll understand some of the reasons why maybe it could be a cover up because of that, and why they're not reluctant to really help. All right, so also you got here. Let's see. Any more questions? I really want to see some of these comments. I see you guys have comments here, but I definitely need to get the questions. I'm running out of time. I only have a few minutes left. And if you have a question, I see all these comments. I really want to stop and thank you guys for the comments that you guys have and supporting. Like I said, I do see the question mark here. I sent you information on MVAT via Instagram DM today. Thank you, Scooby Doo for Life. I really appreciate it. And I will be going, if you say on Instagram, okay, because I have someone that's checking the Instagram for me, but I will look into that. Scooby Doo for Life. If you're on Twitter, try Twitter. Inbox me there on Twitter, or you can do something on. Please have the information you see scroll on the bottom of the screen. Also, I have a question here from Rona. Thank you, Rona, for your question. David, have you spoken to the company that Daniel worked for lately? Not lately, but I used to speak to them often. I had board meetings with them as well in the past. Sorry, I can't think of the name of it right now. Matrix New World. It's also called Matrix Southwest Groundwater. That's Matrix New World, Matrix Southwest Groundwater. Yes, I used to have meetings with them a lot. So I got to know them very well. Like I said, the owners, I'm telling you the irony to this thing, you guys. My son and the owners of Matrix Southwest Groundwater, their son, the wife actually owned Matrix. The husband is there as well, her husband as well, but their son went to school with Daniel. Their son and Daniel are friends. They went to college together. They graduated from college together. They're college buddies. That's how Daniel was able to learn about Matrix New World. That was how he was able to land that job through his friend's parent. They own that company. And so that's how Daniel got there in the first place. But yes, I talked to them a lot. So I learned a lot about them as well. All right, Scooby Doo for Life, thanks so much for your question. Have you spoken to anyone in the FBI directly? Yes. I don't think they would say that at all. The agent that myself and I want to say battle buddy, but Larnell, you guys met him here. I believe I won't say he said it, but I always believe that he could do something like that. His attitude and the person that he is. Anytime you guys, nobody have a common courtesy, you coming up there to meet the FBI. He didn't have the common courtesy to even take us into the office. He treated us like I don't want to put it out like that, but they didn't let us get past the guard shack. I'll just put it that way. Had us in the guard shack. He came with his bodyguards or whatever. They kind of stand in the way like they're surrounding you or something, like they're gonna do something to you or something. I can believe that agent who did that case review at the Buckeye Police Department could possibly say something like that. I ain't say he did, but I'm saying, his attitude, I wouldn't doubt it. I would believe that FBI would say, I'm doing such a great job on my own. That's not logical to me. They'll say that, but that's what was told to me. But the thing is, yes, I did speak to them directly. But even in today's time, I've spoken to someone directly as well. So there's some little changes. I am doing everything I can, you guys, in the background. So it ain't just Q&A and things like we're doing other things as well. All right, thank you, Rito, for the super chat. You guys are so wonderful. I really appreciate that, Rito, from the YouTube side. I really appreciate that. Your love, your compassion. I really appreciate you supporting what I'm doing here. God bless you. You truly inspire me. Thank you. You inspire me too. Thank you so much for your help. I really appreciate you. Every single day, the world needs more people like you, Mr. Robinson. Thank you. That's really nice of you to say that. And God, and I really appreciate God giving me people like yourself and everybody that's in this Q&A and everybody who's been supporting Daniel from day one. Because I'm telling you guys, I couldn't do it without you guys, and you guys have been showing some love. You're showing me some things too. The people out there in the searches that have been spending all those weeks out there in the searches with me out there in that desert, like I say, all this, everything. I can everything. I just can name all the stuff that goes on. There's a lot of good people in this world, and God put you here, and I really appreciate that too. You know, we need more people like you all too. So I'm really grateful, and thanks so much, Rito. See who else I got here. Any more questions? I see these comments. I really wish I can get. Yes. I'm about to say this one right here. This is a comment, but I've had to put this out as not a question. I received something about my mother, so I'm really happy to hear that. Leah, thank you. God is good and bless your mother's heart. I grew up like that too, and my mom was just like that. I would not change it for the world. That is where your foundation of faith and perseverance come from. Yes, my mother has taught me a lot. There's a lot of more stories I can go that goes back with that. My mom and her faith, as well as her love for me and my sister at the time, and the things that the streams that she went to make sure that we was all right. You know, my sister and I. So I do have an extraordinary mother as well, to be able to try to do both parts, teach me how to be a man as well as being a mother. So so I had best of both worlds by her. Imagine. I grew up in a house with a bunch of women, but I survived. So, but yes, but yes, she's a wonderful lady. Also, Lauren, thanks so much. Question: if we have to experience, if we have no experience in the desert climate, would we be helpful in the search? Yes, yes. A lot of people we've been doing it for those weeks, and yes, they are. They've been very helpful. That's the reason why we was able to find human remains, because of people like myself, people who not like myself don't have any desert experience. But yes, and we have done very well for ourselves. So yes, definitely. Also, we have let's see, Sophia. Thanks so much. You reminded me, guys. If you're new here to this channel or you haven't already, please hit that like, share, subscribe button for this channel. You guys have got me up to 2.23 thousand. It was at 2.22 this morning. So thank you so much, you guys. 2.23 thousand subscribers. That will help the algorithm. That will help this channel grow. That will help me reach out to more people. That will help me help other people who comes on this Q&A to share their loved one's story. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I see the Marine you have here. Yes, my son Daniel was missing for three and a half years. Oh wow. Before his partial. Oh gosh, I'm sorry to hear that. Before his partial remains were found. Oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that. My condolences to you and your family. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that you had to go through that. Yeah. Yes. Sorry to hear that, Marine. I'm praying for you and your strength. I know that's not easy. It's gonna never be easy. Just have to live that, especially just reliving certain things, certain areas and stuff like that. Because I know how I feel, even like through the holidays. I had to go through the holidays, and days and the weeks that I had my 2-hour conversation with Daniel, for instance, and then not baby. I don't want to forget how my son's voice sound. So I had to play recordings and things like that just to hear his voice. So I understand what you're going through, the pain, and I don't have answers yet, but I can imagine. I'm so sorry that you're going through that. But thank you so much for sharing that with us. And if you want to talk about anything, you always welcome on this Q&A as well. So thanks so much, Marine, and God bless you for even though you're supporting this channel. So thanks so much. All right, I also have Lynn, aka Athena. Thanks so much. Yeah, that was very, very rude. Thanks so much. I don't know. Some things, I hear some things in the comments, chats. I don't know what really goes on, but I'm really grateful you guys are here. And let's see if anybody have any missing loved ones. I think I saw somebody here. Like I said again, I'm gonna put you up here, but again, you're always welcome to come on this channel to talk about it if you would like to as well. Buckeye police came in my home unlawfully and arrested my virus. You know what? I think I spoke with you before. As soon as I read that, I think I heard you. I want to feel like you told me the story before personally. But 21-year-old disabled veteran claimed he pawned a stolen drill. Yes, I know the story. His drill had a receipt. I know the story. And I try to remember where you told me this or somebody else told me this, but I believe it was you. And we had a conversation about it. They didn't ask one question. And I didn't like that story. And I know what you've been through. And I heard that story. I think we spoke on the phone about this. So, Lynn, I'm sorry about that. I really try to remember everything about the conversation, but I do know that story, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that, and that's horrible. Yes, yes, and that's Buckeye. But yes, I think that's it, you guys. I see a lot of comments. I wish I could stop every comment, but I'm trying to make sure I got a 5 after now. The well from Dog Defender. Thank you, Dog Defender. The well you found curious things in. Those were the well for drinking water, right? Yes, I was told that because deep enough that water was gross. It was gross because there was some things that shouldn't be down in there. It was gross. It was really nasty. The guy who does a will inspection for life for a living, he was really disgusted about the things that was in there. You know, you guys see. One day I'm gonna put it back on the Q&A again. You can see the comparison with the well that they misled me to versus the well that Daniel actually been to. Two different situations in them. The one that Daniel wasn't at, that they tried to mislead me to, clean. It's always straight down. It's the appearance of what a well should look like down in that well. But that one you're talking about, the well that matches what Ken say the distance it was to get to this well and stuff. Yes, it's disgusting because they put all that stuff in there to conceal something. They dump all this dirt to conceal something. Something's buried down there. It appears to be a human skull from sent it to forensics. From the look at it, pathologists or whatever you call them, the word I want to use. But that's what they do. They specialize, but they even suspicious about it, and they think FBI should be into looking into that because of that, the way that appearance is a possibility. All right, they couldn't be definitive about it, trying to get the measurements based on the video I gave them, but definitely they wanted to think that it's worth the law enforcement to look into it. So anyway, thank you guys again. I ran out of questions here. I'm at the bottom of this. Thank you so much. And, thank you. I want to put this up for Sophia. And there you go, Maureen. Definitely, people are praying for you. We have wonderful people here. I see the condolences and things like that. So people here and, praying for you. And I know it's hard. So God bless you. And I'll be praying for you too as well. Also, thank you, Sophia, for the last question. Let me see if I can put this up there. Yeah, and then help somebody else real quick. I'm sorry, Pacific prayer, something comes up, but yes, the question here from True Crime Tracy. So I must have missed one. Thank you, Sophia. Are these protests only in Arizona? Yes. Or would it be interested in starting them up all over the country? I would love that. I definitely would love that because it's a bigger cause. My son is American son. That was possible, yes. He's American son, meaning that this don't happen just to my son. It happened to a lot of other families. And yes, there's some things that could be done. But if a person know how to do those things, get those things going, I would like to be interested in hearing those things as well. But yes, that's something. I had this other event that I wanted to do in January this month. You guys, I had cut it, but it was very important to me, and I still would do it again. But I had this march that I was going to do in DC. I started doing Phoenix, but it's going to be in DC. I'll be trying to get that going sometime, probably hopefully in the summer sometime as well. So, but it's very important to me as a father. And, I know a lot of people will benefit from that. So, yes, I'm interested in things like that. True Crime Tracy. All right, you guys, love you all. Thank you so much. Anthropologists, there you go. Somebody you got me. That's right. You had the anthropologists look at that, those footages in that well, and they really disturbed about what they saw as well. So, but I cannot somehow attract the law enforcement to do the right thing and go check those, resume that well and check and do the right thing. So, but like I said, people don't want to do it because they just don't want. That's the kind of stuff. So anyway, all right. Thank you so much, you guys, and I love you all. Thanks so much again. Thank you, Dog Defender, for giving the word. And I'll see you all on the next Q&A. Thank you for sharing your time with me this evening. Thank you for showing your love. Thank you for super chats. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the suggestions to you name it. I really appreciate everybody who's sticking in with me. God bless you all, and I'll see y'all on the next Q&A, or I'll see y'all in the next. I'll be doing some lives, you guys. I'll be doing some lives and some other videos. I'm gonna start trying to get better at doing that because I need to get Daniel's search out there. I need to get this stuff out there for more people to help out. So thank you guys. God bless you. See y'all next time.